All right, welcome back for a recap of session 12 of Chicken D&D. I love how that says Chicken D&D. All right, so what happened last month? We started, obviously, Drugar has left on his own journey, and we are left with Latruda and Harry waking up. They get up, they have their breakfast, and Babar calls them on the sending stones, letting them know that he has found an address for they kept calling him Tartar. What's his actual name? Tardis. Not Tardis, but Tartus. Ah, close enough. All right. So Babar's found an address for Tartus and has offered them multiple different ways and places to teleport. He has warned them that the further away from where they lay over the material plane that they go, the more likely it is for that weird time dilation to happen. So they do decide that they're going to go to Sil Tareth rather than Basildon or Battersbury. But before they go, they want to gather a couple of supplies. Mostly they're trying to gather things that they can then sell, try to make some money to fund their journey from Sil Tareth to Battersbury. So they go mushroom hunting to find more of those mushrooms that they assume they ingested during their night of debauchery a few sessions ago. And then they hit up the marketplace and gather a couple of things there. Latruda finds some little, like, Celtic knot style knickknacks, and Harry picks up a magical blanket, which he has no idea what it does, but I do. So we'll see how that plays out. They go back to Babar and they teleport themselves to Sil Tareth, or rather just outside of Sil Tareth into the forest. They find their way into the city and immediately notice it has changed. It has like an ominous ambiance to it. Looking around, they notice that the people look tired and haggard and worried, and most, if not all of them, are armed, and many of them have beasts of the forest walking beside them, which was not something that existed before. The beasts of the forest were supposed to stay in the forest. So obviously something's afoot. They decide that their best course of action is to find Taruna and the council and talk to them. They force their way in past the clerk, and then Harry thinks that it's a great idea to use magic to blast open the door in a great show of drama. Unfortunately, they know that there's magic being cast, and so they start opening the door, and as the spell goes off, Harry hits Taruna with it, dealing 9 points of damage, which is a lot of damage for just basically a regular person, but she's hurt. So obviously this conversation starts off on the wrong foot, and it does not get better. They go through a conversation talking about the rifts. Latruda and Harry share the information that they have, while Taruna is mostly just mad and upset at everything that has happened to her in the last 2.5 weeks. The whole thing with, the council member dying, her coming here to fill his position, and then her father being taken into jail, and then being murdered while in jail. A lot's gone on for her, and then suddenly the forest is far more dangerous than it has been in a very long time. So she's going through a lot. She's real stressed out. She definitely lashes out, and honestly, rightfully so, because it is kind of the party's fault that things got so bad so quickly. After that conversation, Harry and Latruda are not particularly happy with the way that it went. They think that they went there to do a good thing, and they did. Absolutely they did. Taruta just didn't take it very well. And maybe they didn't go about it in quite the right way. But their next course of action is to find Violet, hoping that, she's easy to find because she's very different from everybody else in the city, being an Eladrin. And also hoping that because she is Fae, she might be able to shed some more light on the information that they do have. They find out that she's staying with Talus, though not a one of us could remember Talus's name at the time, so in the session we call her Julia. We will switch this back. Because I picked, of all the names, I actually picked the names from the session that Talus shows up in on purpose, instead of figuring them out as they come along. So, they find Talus's house, they find Violet, they have a bit of a conversation there. I don't feel like they learn a whole lot extra information about what's going on. They do look at a map and realize that there are settlements that they can hit up to grab some more supplies on their way to Battersbury, which is good because there are not a lot of free supplies in the city right now. Because the forest has become more dangerous, the merchants traveling into the middle of the forest are much fewer and far between. I did just realize that the council was not their first course of action. Their first course of action was actually going to see Valeria the herbalist, which is where they first kind of find out like what's been going on. And this is also where they find out that the stuff that they bought while in the Feywilds is probably not going to be sold here, because they don't have a whole lot going for them right now, so buying stuff that isn't going to immediately help them isn't great, and mushrooms and trinkets aren't particularly helpful. But back to Talus's place. The party decides they are going to go out and try to buy some supplies in the market, but they also talk to the ladies about trying to bring the spirits of the city up. They decide that it's a great idea to maybe try to get everybody to the tavern, relax for a moment, but be together in case something does happen. And Talus teaches them a war song. And so they go, they buy a couple of supplies, they meet back up at the tavern. This is where they learn the war song, and then slowly but surely people start to trickle into the tavern. Once there's a large enough crowd, they start up the song, and immediately the guards start, banging their armor, hitting the table. They know this song. This is a song that everybody actually did learn growing up, the same way that we learn very messed up nursery rhymes. They learned war songs, and this is a war song from the last time that the plains had issues and they were hit very hard by the same sort of thing that's happening now. And that's where we ended. They raised the morale of the group, and that's where we ended. We ended in the tavern, so that is where we'll be starting back up. And then, in theory, they will begin their journey, their very long journey to Battersbury. It will take them a couple of weeks to get there. However, they will definitely be making at least one stop along the way. So, I'm excited to see what happens with them going through the now extremely dangerous forest and everything that follows that. So catch that live tomorrow, March 4th, 9:30 a.m. EST on Chickadee 93 over on Twitch. Hey, thanks for checking out Chickadee D. If you liked what you saw, click all the buttons down below. Subscribe, like, comment, you know the drill. Thank you again so much. See you next time. Bye.